Hello, Dean. Could you please give an introduction about yourself?
Sure. Okay. Good evening, everyone. My name is Dean. I am a South African and I'm 23 years old from Cape Town, or currently living in Cape Town. And I'm currently full time doing a master's in engineering at Stellenbosch University. And part time, I am in the real world, which is the AI automation campus and the business mastery campus.
Interesting. Okay. So, while being a full time student, you decided to join the real world and do AI automation. What led up to this? How did you decide to join? When did you decide to join the real world and why? Is what I'm trying to get.
Yeah, so interesting story actually. So I've been quite privileged to have been able to study for free for the, the 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 extent of my career. That's because of essentially working hard and getting a scholarship or a bursary or however you guys may know it, but that pays everything. So tuition fees, accommodation, all of that has been covered. Um, but sort of in the middle of last year, which was my first year of masters. Um, I sort of got in a little bit of a situation where I needed money, essentially. Um, so I started looking into ways to get money, like doing waitering jobs, washing cars, all of those things. But I could never really find the time for that. So I had to find something that I can do online. Um, so I've been scrolling on LinkedIn last year. This was, I'd say, the middle of last year, June, July. And scrolling through LinkedIn, I kept finding these AI data what? Data analyst jobs, which is basically freelance jobs, which I think is a good description. And what that is, or well, at least the one I did is I had to rewrite math equations that they give us. So I had to rewrite math equations and I had to submit them to this company, this AI company, and they use that data for their AI models. And then they pay you per math equation, you could say. And so I got lucky and I found this contract freelancing job and I made enough money to cover the rent money that I needed um, for the last period of the year up until this year. And then I sort of, I think, fell in love with the whole hustling thing, if that makes sense. It was nice, making money on the side, coming home after I'm busy doing my research at the faculty. I come home. I didn't really have much to do. So now when I found this, um, the first AI freelancing job, it was nice to have something to do while I'm here and actually earn money as well and spend my time better than just going on social media, playing video games, etc. And so then I started looking for some more things. So I started setting up a lot of freelancing profiles on Fiverr and Upwork and stuff like that. Basically leveraging my degree that I had. So I studied engineering. I have an electronics slash software degree in engineering. Um, Leveraging that, it sort of builds a bit of credibility and selling my skills, which is more software based. So websites. Um, there was this AI thing as well that I was selling. Um, so yes, that was just me hustling before the real world. But then things sort of started getting quiet. The company closed this freelancing contract opportunity, and I had nothing to do. So at the start of the year, I was like, "Hey, why not? Eh? Let me check this thing out. I have a little bit of money finally. Um, Let me sign up." And I immediately went to the AI automation campus because I saw a YouTube video, and I also I've been following Andrew Tate as well, so I'm quite up to speed with what is being released. And I remember him mentioning the new AI campus like in near the end of last year and stuff like that. And so I immediately joined the AI campus. first few week was just crafting through all the videos, and I'm really glad I joined it because the skills I learned in there I think is very, very useful and very efficient compared to what I've been doing. And
Amazing.
yeah, so now fast forward, now I'm here,
Mhm.
still busy.
And in that time period, it's been a fairly short time period that you've been in the reward. Um,
Yeah.
with AI automation, what did you actually end up doing? What parts of it did you learn? And how did you utilize it? And how did you land clients with what you're doing?
Yeah, so um, in the automation campus there was the outreach, the outreach automation, and then there was of course the chat agents, and there were some workshops being done on Bolt, which is the website um, creation. And I've something I forgot to mention actually. Before the real world, I was also doing websites for people. So I've landed like two local companies in my town. I'm not from Cape Town, but I landed some local companies in my town with websites, and that was normal door to door sales that I did. I went up to them, they didn't have a website, then I'd made them a website. And anyway, so the one thing that I leveraged was the website called bold.new, which is very, very useful compared to what I've done. So it took me a week to make a website. Now it takes me 10 minutes or 30 minutes to make a website of better quality. So that was something that was really useful that I learned. And also now I also know sort of how websites work in general, how I can sell it. And I've worked off that. The big sale that I made to get on the leaderboard was actually 8 websites for one company. Um, and the other one is the AI chat agents. Um, I've sold one of them, but it was I haven't really put in that much effort into selling those ones yet, simply because I don't have a lot of time with
Mhm.
writing my thesis and so I'm sort of balancing everything. And when I make sure when I have free time, I don't sit. I actually work in the real world. Um, so yeah, those are the two things essentially: the websites and the chat agents. Those are the skills that I'm utilizing. I did not like the outreach simply because I feel like it's not very personal. So I prefer doing personal sales, writing up my own emails and stuff. And so for that, I actually joined the Business Mastery campus, and I'm almost done with all the videos. But
Mm.
I think that one was also really useful in teaching me how to actually sell a product in a more personal way rather than the automation way.
Mhm.
Not anything against it, but like you know what I mean.
Mhm. Indeed. Okay, interesting. So, with the first few clients you landed, what was the situation like? What kind of conversation did you have with them, and how much did you charge for what you're offering?
So the first few clients was more of a um, how can I state this? It was more of people that already knew me in my hometown that ran businesses. The one ran. So this was the chatbot one. The one is running a surf school, and one of his employees was actually about to leave, and it just so happened to be the guy that's at the front desk. And I sort of my brother also works in the company, and he told me that my mate is look. Oh well, it's my brother's mate actually, but he knows me as well. So my brother told me his mate is looking for people, looking into AI automation, which at the time I was busy doing. So that was kind of luck being in my way. And I approached him. I told him, listen, you don't need to appoint someone. I'll create you this chat agent that handles all your serve booking, all your serve lessons. It collects all the user data and it books the lessons similar to what a real person would do at the front. All you need to do is put two iPads down in your front desk, and you run the chatbot, and that's pretty much it. And that piqued his interest, and he sort of did further research into that, and he just loved the idea. Reached out to me, and then we worked out. And now, um, what's the date? 31st of March. I think today or tomorrow is actually deploying the bot that I made for him, which is good. Um, the other two were websites. So the one was a local hotel that it's the oldest hotel in my town, and they didn't have a website, but the competitors, everyone had websites. And the town that I stay in is quite a big tourist destination. Um, it's called Jeffreys Bay, by the way, which is quite a huge surfing destination. And so they were I sort of approached them with the angle of when, these foreign visitors come in, when these tourists come in, the first thing they do is obviously look at people's websites, or they search hotels near me, or on Google they search best hotels and whatever, and they had a good rating on their Google business profile. So I just told them, listen, you guys don't have a website. You're the oldest hotel in Jeffreys Bay. You don't have a website. What's going on? And the guy basically just said he doesn't like the idea of having to pay someone for a website monthly. So I just told him, listen, you don't have to pay me monthly. You can pay me once off this amount. I'll make the website. It'll take me 3 days. And he was like, okay, sure. I'll give you a shout. I showed him some examples of what it could look like. So I actually came in with a pre-built website, which sort of helped a lot. So sort of like a template that I made for them. And I showed him this, and he was like, oh, you know what? Why not? And that was, sorry, I sort of am twisting the story. That was the first client that I had. The second one was the first one that I talked about. Um, so yeah, and the third one was a just a small friend of mine that wanted to start a business, and I wanted to do it for free for him, but he insisted that his dad pays for it, and I made him a website, and he was quite happy. So that one was quite easy. Now the fourth one, which is the big one, the one that got me on the leaderboard. Um, this one was, I'd say, also quite some luck involved. But if you work every day, sometimes you get lucky. You know what I mean? So these people actually, so I always aim to send out about 3 emails, outreach emails a day, and I make use of LinkedIn. So I have quite a good LinkedIn profile, being a student and having a professional degree and stuff like that. So my LinkedIn has been quite well built up. And so I was doing outreach on LinkedIn, and I reached out to a company in the UK, and I reached out directly to their marketing manager, I believe. And he told me he'll get back to me actually. So then I sort of was like, okay, when someone says they'll get back to you, usually it means nothing. But he actually came back to me, and he approached me, and I had an interview with him. And at that time, they were one company, but they were planning on splitting into eight companies below them. So like one parent company and like eight daughter companies. And he wanted websites for all eight of them. And I was like, yes, I'll do it. Give me 2 weeks. And he was quite like, what, 2 weeks for eight websites? You
Yeah.
must be lying. I'm like, no, I'm not lying. I'll show you. And he was like, okay, let me go speak to my CFO and the CEO, I guess. And he came back and it's like, okay, can you do it? I'm like, yes, I can do it. Send me everything you want and I'll do it. And he sent me everything. 2 weeks gone by. So this was at the start of March. Well, sorry, no, this wasn't at the start of. Yes, this was was it? I got the
That
money at the
was
start of March. So like 2 weeks before the start of March. Yeah. Um, uh, I just, yeah, sort of ballparked an amount and they were happy with it. I could have probably asked more, but hey, I'm happy either way. and now rent is paid for the rest of the year.
Amazing. So, in those few months, how much have you earned as a result of AI automation and reward from the four clients?
Oh, so yeah, it's kind of hard to convert to dollars now, but I can give you a ballpark in rand.
I'll convert.
It's not a lot.
From
I'd
that.
say it's yeah, I would say it's around $5,600. Oh, sorry, 5.6K in dollars. So
Yep, yep.
it's the one big sale. Yeah, and then the other two were sort of very smallish with but still a lot in our currency. But yeah.
Indeed. So basically, in about 2 months, you earn $5,600 as a full-time student and in South
Yeah.
Africa, which are two very important things to emphasize. So, and as you said,
Yes.
that paid your rent for a whole year, so very substantial.
Yes.
Uh, uh,
Yeah,
where
that's
where was what were your
besides the
plans?
so
Continue.
sorry, you cut out a bit.
Yeah, continue. You were saying.
Oh yeah, so this is actually extra money for me now because I have a scholarship which pays everything for this year. Um so this is some nice money to use in business. So me and two other mates, we are starting a proper big. We're trying to sell a big product to like farms in South Africa, and that also actually utilizes the chat agent thingy, but it's more of a IoT, Internet of Things sensor product. Um, so that's going to be some nice money I can use in that business to start that.
Yep. And since you're on this trajectory, where do you see your life heading in the short term, medium term, and long term?
Hmm. I'd say in the short term, I have to finish my master's, so I have to write my thesis. And then in the medium term, I would ideally or optimally, I would start going into business. Um, just now, it's sort of getting as much money as I possibly can to allow me to, go into business, be staying with the rent paid for the year, for example, fully focusing on business. So ideally, next year, I would love to just focus on building a business. But if not, I have my master's degree in engineering, and I was planning on heading to the Netherlands, which is in quite a high demand for engineers from South Africa, specifically because we sort of speak the same language. Um, so that's sort of the fallback um, in the medium term, and then still, hustling around. That's still a long term thing. I really enjoy it. It's quite a thrill. Um, so I'd say, yeah, short term, I need to finish my master's. Otherwise, I need to pay all this scholarship money. If I
Yeah.
finish it, I don't need to pay it. Um, Medium term, I need to continue, working every single day. Try and look into business and see how our business, because we have a really good idea. So if that pays off, that would be great. Um, yeah, long term, hey, it's hard to say.
No,
It's
completely
hard to
fair.
say.
Yep, yep. Have you consumed much of Tate's content? And if so, what kind of impact has it had on you? Whether it's on your mindset
Yes,
or anything.
I've yeah, so I've been watching the dates for like ever since they started getting famous, I believe. Um, and I've always been just laughing at the content. I know people take him quite seriously, but they don't really um, think about what he says. Um, and I think my critical thinking skills has actually made me, think not get too offended about his stuff and go on about that. And at the time as well, I was in the middle of my study, so I didn't really have time to be angry at whatever the fuck he said. But now I've been watching his stuff for long, all the Tate Confidential episodes, most of the emergency meetings I've been watching, and I've been following him on Twitter for a while now as well. On Insta, I followed him. So yeah, I've been sort of being a follower of the top G. So
But the
oh, and you asked what impact? Sorry, what impact he had? Um,
impact on your mind.
it yeah, it was mostly mindset. Getting that working mindset. I've always been a hard worker. But I've never really cemented um, that sort of mentality, and I think he really helped. Getting me in the gym, getting me to do my studies properly. I know he says education is useless, but for me it was very useful. But getting as well with the hustling, getting money, and I've loved since I was born. I've loved fast cars, and that's also the main reason that got me into. I need to go. Well, initially, I need to go study something that makes money, and engineering has a lot of money in it. So, um, but throughout my studies, I think he has really motivated me to work hard. Motivated me to um, make my parents proud. Um, so yeah, that's and also I also have an older brother, and we have the same sort of relationship. They didn't grow up with anything, and it's just been hard work. So the mentality is important. I think the most important.
Yeah, but great to hear. Okay, so I'll wrap up with a final question. That being, for people who are unsure about joining the real world because they're thinking they might get scammed for the $50, what advice do you have to them?
That's hard to say. Let me think about this one for like 5 seconds. I think it's sort of a situation of if you're really desperate. Like I was in a situation where I needed money, and spending the $50 was nothing. Um, and before that, I did believe in the real world. So it's hard for me to say. I knew it was not a scam and all of that. I just didn't have the funds to actually join. Um, but first of all, no, it's not a scam. Second of all, if you are really a hard worker and you're a really good thinker, um, spending the $50 will be, I think, a good. If it's a good investment initially, and but if you're not putting in the work for it and you're not committed to put in the work, um, you would obviously start thinking, this is a scam. But when you join, you really need to start putting in the work. Um, yeah, if you're a hardworking individual, it's the most worth it thing to actually join. So
Indeed.
yeah, that yeah.
Hmm. Okay. And then for people who want to find out more about you or contact you, where could they do so?
They can contact me on Instagram. If they need someone with some technical skills or they need an electrical engineer for their product or whatever, they can contact me on Instagram with at Dean, so Dean Jegels, Jeggels.
Okay. So I'll add that to the description of the video. And yeah, Dean, 23 years old in South Africa, a third world country. While doing a
Yeah,
master's degree, you've earned $5,600 as a result of the real world through AI automation. And that's something you can scale even further, especially after graduating. That will give you some more time. So, a lot of potential there. Good mindset, a lot of potential. I'm sure you'll do very well in future as long as you continue on this trajectory. And I wish you all the best with everything you're doing.
thanks. Yeah, I will. I'll try my best.